me, everyone. This is Neve with the Rainbow Cauldron, and this is your weekly general reading for May 13th through the 19th, 2018. And I want to apologize for basically being gone for a couple weeks, and that was partly due to having the flu very, very badly. I had to go to the urgent care, and that was just, it was a 2-week flu, and it was just awful. And the other reason was just that we've had a lot of other things going on too, and I just couldn't find the time to sit down and do some tarot readings for my channel. So hopefully I'm back for good now. Hopefully I can get these weekly readings out. So I do apologize for being gone for a few weeks. Anyway, so this week, this is the month of May. I do have a kind of a springy background this month. Oh, there's a little bug on here. Let me get that off. All right, Mr. Buggy's gone, but so it's finally started to be springy here in New England. So I got a nice spring looking background, and I also picked the Crystal Visions Tarot deck because May is the month of Beltana, which I sort of view as the pagan Valentine's Day. So I went with a deck that I think is very much lovey-dovey, just very very feminine, lots of pinks and purples, that sort of feeling. And so for the Oracle deck this week, I decided to go with a rather spiritual deck, and that's the Gita deck. All the cards in here are very spiritual. They have quotes from the Bhagavad Gita. Yeah, and some of them are very religious. Some of them are not so much. But yeah, it's a nice deck, beautiful artwork. Anyway, so if you are new here, what I do is I pull one card from an oracle deck, and that will represent the general theme of the week, something to think about. And then I pull 3 cards from a tarot deck, and that will represent the general flow of energy throughout the week. All right, so let's get started. Okay, so we have Divine Descent. All right, so let's read the back of the card, because each of these has what it's about on the back. So which makes shuffling a little difficult for this deck, but you know, we do it. We figure it out. All right, so this is from chapter 4, verse 7 through 8 of the Bhagavad Gita. And the English translation is as follows. Whenever and wherever there is a decline of religious practice in the world and wickedness becomes predominant, at that time I descend myself in order to deliver the pious and to annihilate the miscreants, as well as to reestablish the sacred law. I appear at every age. So obviously the inscription is very religious. It's talking about when the world in general is in a decline of religion, then the god or the spirit entity comes down and descends. Kind of makes me think of the Christian Jesus, you know, and this is a concept that's basically in all religions, especially ancient religions. But taking the religion part out of it, I sort of feel like it's more about reconnecting with spirituality, which is something I can connect with since I've gone a few weeks without doing any of these tarot readings, and I've been spending that time recovering and all of that. That, you know, sometimes I feel a bit drained, and I feel like this is a card that's really about reconnecting with your spirituality, reconnecting with you know, your inner self. And yeah, so let's move on to the tarot reading. So the first card is the Page of Cups. Okay, and then we have the Four of Cups. All right, a lot of cup energy here. And finally we have the Six of Swords. Okay, so with the Page of Cups here, it's it has to do with someone, the pages, the suit cards, the people cards, they tend to represent someone in our lives, or or it represents ourselves, or it represents a certain attitude, a certain personality. Here in the Page of Cups is someone with an open heart, who's spiritually open, who's almost needy, and maybe more needy in the sense that they need spiritual guidance. And it's also a card that's a lot of it has to do with outward spiritual expression, outward expression, creative expression. And so that's really what I'm seeing here, and I feel like that does connect with our oracle card here. And now we move on to the Four of Cups, and this is almost a warning, because the Four of Cups is about feeling bored and withdrawn, and it's about spending too much time daydreaming rather than actually living and making choices and taking action. It's kind of distracted by our own thoughts, contemplating a situation, and it's kind of, it's almost telling us to be careful to not give into apathy, and not to give into, I don't know if laziness is the right word that I want to use, because it's not so much laziness as it is just being withdrawn and being in our own thoughts, and it's a warning to not give into an apathy, to not be like, I don't care, so to tell you to care, to step outside of that daydream and see the world. And finally, with the Six of Swords, a lot of times the Swords deck is seen as kind of a negative deck, and I can see why, because there are a lot of cards that have kind of a, I don't want to say negative, but maybe not so positive meaning to them. But the Six of Swords is actually one of the swords cards that I find the most inspiring, and and encouraging. It's a card that I find encouraging and inspiring, because it is about taking action and moving away from a painful situation, stepping away from destructive behaviors and attitudes. And she here is being guided by these ravens or crows, whatever they are, and she's walking toward a light. So she's walking toward this solution, and I feel like that does connect here with that. It's getting out of this rut, feeling the need for spirituality, feeling the need for spiritual guidance and creative expression. A warning to not get so caught up in our thoughts, and to not to give in to apathy. And finally, taking a stand, moving away from a painful situation, stepping into that light, not stepping into the light that way, but stepping into an enlightened situation rather than a dark situation. And so that is the reading for this week. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you have a good week, and I will see you next week. Blessed be. Bye.